you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. And if you want to pull the screws out a little quicker, your power drill with the Phillips bit in it. I feel like for this one I should definitely get chips and salsa. Probably a good idea. Yeah. Oh, don't let that. Hey, let's break some stuff today. No, let's not. I make a lot of money off my digital piano, so let's try and make sure it stays working. So what basically happened is I was at a gig the other night and had a guy that was up there by the piano. He was having a good time. He had his beer right there, and of course, like, he's wanting to sing with me. Had kind of a karaoke crowd that night, and I always hook up an extra microphone. But there's always that risk of drinks. I mean, I put my drinks up on the piano. I know it could happen. I figured it was bound to happen before long. I'm just lucky that the keyboard isn't completely destroyed. And, I was actually able to, it was the end of the night. Like, literally, I was maybe going to play one more song. So it was good, good timing there, I guess. And I just kind of, unhooked it, and I took the piano and the keyboard turned it upside down to pour as much of the beer out of it as I could. Now, before I actually unplugged it, I did kind of test it, and I realized that some of the notes were making a really loud. It was as if you had hit the key at its maximum response, but it was like I was barely touching the keys, and some of them would dunk really loud. So I knew that some of the liquid had gotten in there, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to go home and take this thing apart. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going through the DIY video. I took some time lapses and things like that. And hopefully for those of you that have a Yamaha P-115, you'll get to see this specific model. I was looking up the other ones, and I didn't find one for a 115, so hopefully this helps you guys. I think in some way it does differ from the 125 and some of those other models, maybe even differs from the 45 a bit. I thought that it was just electronic differences between the P45 and the 115, but there might be some physical differences too, so we'll get right into this. Glad to say that even before I took it apart, I was able to blow it out and make sure everything worked. I used the compressed air blower. So everything was working fine even before I took it apart. It's just that I wanted to clean it out so I didn't get, sticky keys or any of the little rubber pieces and things like that in there. I wanted to get a lot of the beer out of it because I just didn't know the extent of how much actually made it in there. So, hope this helps you guys out, and let's get down to it. Alright, first off, there are quite a few screws that hold this thing together. Definitely want to have a drill with your Phillips bit in there so you can back those things out quick, or you'll be there for a while with a screwdriver. Alright, so once you pull the case open, the two ribbon cables just kind of slide right out. Be super gentle with them. I mean, they feel like they're built pretty good, but I mean, you don't want to force that. Move it out real straight. And then the speaker wires, you're going to have to unbend this little thing that holds the wire down, keeps it from flopping, and pull those off. And that should be all the wiring you got to do. The speaker wire over there. After that, we're going to see what it takes to get access to the keys. Now, one thing that's definitely important anytime you're getting into something like a digital piano is take it slow. You know, don't force anything apart. Usually, if for some reason it's not coming apart easily, you're probably doing something wrong, or maybe there's another screw that needs to come out. A lot of times there's another way, and I've learned that from all kinds of different mechanical experience, aircraft, cars. I mean, sometimes you do have to force something, but I mean, it's usually when it's made of metal and it's really strong, and it could take some forcing or some wiggling. Definitely not the case on one of these. Everything pretty much came apart fairly easily once I got the right screws taken out. So keep that in mind. So what I can tell so far now, this is the P-115 upside down. So the bottom piece with, you know, the speakers that face downward are actually here. And there's some circuit board in there. That's like what goes to the all the jacks and stuff, and then whatever this is, I haven't even analyzed it. But so what it looks like I'm seeing over here to get the key section out, it looks like it's got hold downs. You can kind of tell. I'm guessing you pull this bracket out, like that screw and that screw. Probably this center one is going to be this screw right here, and then two others. This is just what I'm seeing. I haven't tried yet. And then this hold down over here is a screw down there, and that one. So I'm thinking after that, it's going to let this whole key section kind of get out. That's what it looks like. I think it looks like it's going to probably slide back and come out from under here, because this is part of the top case that you basically touch, you know, when you play. So this part is holding it down, and it looks like this is going to probably slide back a bit. We'll see. Okay, so the next order of business, you're going to go between some of these rods. There's screws all the way across that are holding it down. I've already taken a couple of them out, and I can tell that this moves a lot easier just with those two. So I'm going to go all the way across. It looks like there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 of them. I'm going to go ahead and get all those out. And they're quite a bit longer. They look like that. So see if we can remove this section then. Okay, so when you get ready, the keys come out in octave sections, and there's 3 or 4 screws, I can't remember now. But each octave section has those screws that hold it in right up at the front. You have to be kind of careful because it's a weird motion to get it out. I want to say, you know, it's kind of like you slide the keys back a little and lift. You might have to, you know, it's almost like kind of stages to it. So study it a little bit, and the main reason I took out the last key section first was because I could look in there and see a little bit easier and try to figure it out. So if that's, you know, something that you want to do, it might be necessary. That way you can kind of like see what you're doing. But otherwise, if you just need to take out the middle ones, just be a little careful because you'll feel it. I mean, it'll kind of click out, and then you know you've got it. You definitely don't want to force that because the keys only flex on, you know, their thin piece of plastic that kind of holds them to the strip. So there's no hinge or anything like that. It's not like you don't want to like over travel one of the keys messing with it. Okay, so when you have to take the key sections out, I'm not going to do this whole thing because it is a little tricky. It's not that bad, but the beer was spilt pretty much like kind of over on this area. I might take this one more key section out. It looks like the octaves come out. So you've got basically a set of 2 and 3, yeah. So basically it comes out as an octave section. I did take out this last one, and it's pretty clean. But I took out the keys for this, you know, the third one down, and I'm starting to find the traces of like the wet beer still in there. Now, the keys are going to be kind of dirty underneath, and here it is. They're in 3 separate sections. So you've got like one set of white keys that kind of goes with the blacks, and then you've got another set. You can see these 3 different layers, but they all kind of stack together. And each layer holds, you know, different keys. So the way that this comes out is when you undo the screws up here on top, there's 4 screws on each octave section. To put it back in, you're gonna have to hook it over these little things right here. So you're gonna have to basically set them in this way. I'm not gonna do it right now because I've still got that little rubber piece out, but you're gonna slide it on, and then the top section up here should go kind of right in place. And I've still got like beer I need to clean off here. You can see like the wetness. It's amazing how sticky that stuff gets. So another thing is try not to wipe off too much of the grease in here. There's grease on like every little moving part. Gosh, is that hair? Yeah, some fuzz. I'll get that out. That grease needs to be there, and it also might be part of the reason why. I mean, the circuit board seems like it's pretty solid, and I mean, even here, it doesn't seem like a liquid would have really, I mean, it did interfere with it temporarily because it was right there. I think like some of the liquid got underneath these things, and that's why I peeled it up. And you can see all these little nubs just go in the holes. But I think that's what was causing my notes to be crazy, because, you know, there was like liquid under there for a little bit. But I try not to wipe off, like, if there's kind of grease on the circuit board, I mean, that could be something that shielded it from moisture damage too. If you've got grease over a circuit and it's keeping a water or something out, you know, that could definitely kind of help. So I'm trying not to remove a bunch of grease. I'm just trying to clean up the beer, really. And, you know, anything that might be like bulky junk in here. All right, so now I'm taking out the 4th section. I got the screws out, and I kind of want to show you the way that, you know, when you do this, it looks like this might be here for the purpose of pulling up. But you put these little white tabs. Oh God, I gotta be careful here so I don't knock this ribbon out of place. It looks like if you pull up on these little white tabs, that kind of helps. And as soon as you kind of break it loose, not break it, slide backwards, just like that, boom. And this key section will come out. I have a feeling I'm gonna find most of the beer in here. Yeah, there's a little bit of splatter. It's already kind of dried. Bottom of the keys aren't too bad. Just leave the grease on there. You definitely want that in place. And I've got a little wet rag here. I'm cleaning up the beer spillage, so not too bad. I think this could have been a lot worse, but I already know that the keys, you know, work fine. I've already gotten the thing working normally again, so. All right, I'll finish cleaning this part out. Oh, and again, when you want to remove these to get under, clean under them, just be really gentle, but as soon as you get some of these little nubs to pop out, pretty much do the rest that way. All right, I'm gonna clean this. Yeah, there's a good liquid splatter right there. That's probably around the area where it was making the most craziness earlier when I was like, oh no, we got beer in it. And you know, the guy was like super apologetic, and he even threw me like a really nice bit of money up there. He's like, dude, he's like, I don't want you to have to like, he's like, here, just if you're able to fix it, and you know, here's for the stress. And then he's like, we'll be back next week, so if anything went wrong, like, they were super cool about it, but we figured it was gonna be fine. So all right, just keep cleaning it out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I guess, I mean, I didn't ever want to have to do this, but I mean, in some ways, like, I use it so much, it's kind of like not bad to have an excuse to like take it apart and see how it works, and you know, clean it out a little bit. There was some beer under these things, so, and that's what was causing the notes to go crazy. But I think it's gonna be totally fine. It's kind of neat to like, I mean, I guess I appreciate it a little bit more. You know, it's been such a workhorse for me, and I've done so many gigs, so many hours of playing on this thing that it is kind of nice to like, I guess in a way I kind of needed a reason to pull it apart, but hoped I never really had to. So but Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. When you get to the point where you're gonna put these little rubber buttons back in, you wanna get them all set. You'll see there's like a little guiding, you know, piece on there. And what you can use is, I have a drill index with a whole bunch of sizes, and I'm using like the little, I think it's like the 58, I guess, the third one from the bottom. And what you want is you want to use the back, because you can't have anything sharp if you're going to use metal seating these little buttons. But you'll see it slides like right into this hole perfectly, and it should seat it real easily, just like that. Pop right in. And I could probably even use the smaller size. See that? You want to go along, do that. Same here on the back. So make sure they're all in, because if this isn't in properly, I can imagine it's going to cause you some issue with how the thing plays for sure. I mean, since, you know, these keys have a really nice touch sensitivity, the way they're designed, I could imagine anything being off with this, you would notice like a major difference. Ain't nobody got time for that. Oh man, I gotta watch it. I don't want to get that grease on my NAM shirt. My NAM 2020 shirt. Shouldn't be working in the garage with it because I love this shirt so much. But okay, I was there actually. When I worked on the cruise ships, they had some tickets and got us in one of the days when we were in port, so that was pretty amazing. Always wanted to go to NAM. I'm telling you, if you get the visitor pass, I think like the last day it's open to the public or something, and some people don't know this. I didn't know till I went. It could probably still cost $100. I think that's what it would have cost if we didn't have a sponsor getting us in there. But yeah, it's something where you really need to have the full day. And if you're able to get in more than just one day, you can make a week trip or whatever it is, 4 days or a trip out of it. Man, the NAMM show is something else. I feel like you'll never see all of it. It's a little crazy to me how this is, you know, these belt cables are so like folded in here. I mean, I guess that's kind of the only way. They must have designed it and said, well, it's not really gonna hurt anything. So as far as the keys, I'm not gonna do a lot of cleaning to them with them out, because there is some nasty junk up under here. It's probably some of the liquor that's been spilt through this thing. Every now and then there's a small bit. It's just tonight, earlier at the gig, that was more than what has ever happened, and then it actually caused the issue of the keys like working improperly for a little bit. So that's why I'm taking it apart. But I have had small amounts of liquid spilt on this piano before, and I was like, well, shoot, it didn't do anything, so let's hope it, kind of got away with it. Okay, I just separated one of these sections, but that's okay. So you need these to kind of hook on the, I might have to put the phone down and do this with two hands. But what it's basically gonna do is it's gonna slide forward. When you get them all where they can go, you don't force it at all, but I'm gonna have to lift up on the blacks and the whites all at the same time. When you get to slide forward, this rail's gonna pop into place just like that one. It fits really, really almost kind of tight. I don't want to say like tight where you have to push on anything, but it's a perfect fit. It's so close tolerance. So it's gonna slip right into place, and then you know you got it. And then you put the screws back. I might take off one more key section. I know the beer was pretty much like in here, so there may not be much under this one. I don't think I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom, but everything else looks pretty good. So there's like no reason to take it apart and clean out like dust or whatever, because it just didn't really have a lot. So, yep, kind of cool. It's actually pretty neat, like, to see the way that they manipulate a real piano. Oh, I didn't tighten that screw yet. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, this thing is, for as much as I've played it, it looks like it's been pretty good about keeping dust out. So that's a good thing. It's a very well-made piano, and I mean, I feel like it's lasted so well and put up with, such a beating of gigs and playing for hours on end. So there we go. I think I'm going to clean out a few other sections and then get it put back together. Something else that I'm gonna note for you is when I'm putting this kind of stuff back together, especially when we're threading into plastic, I do not use my power drill or screwdriver or whatever for putting things together. Even though it has a torque setting on it, you'll find that even the lowest torque setting on those can be really, really stressful on plastic threads. So everything I do is screwdriver, and I mean, when it bottoms out, I mean, I just kind of finger tight, just enough to get it to seat, and that's it. I'm just not a fan of putting things together with a screw gun unless I know that it can handle the torque. And you know, I mean, you say it could save, I mean, maybe it saves time if that's what you're worried about, but are you really saving time if you end up having to replace an expensive piano because you've stripped out a bunch of screws? So, you know, definitely use a screwdriver. Alright, so getting these long screws back in, the ones that hold the keyboard section into the top case, you can see, like, I didn't realize how many holes there were, but you know that there's going to be one on the end. And then I think you're pretty much skipping two, then you're getting to that one. And you're going to be able to tell for sure because you're going to see a little bit of marring on top. Like, you see that hole looks pretty clean around the top edge, but the ones that had a screw, you can kind of look at that and you can see that the screw causes like indentation. So you'll be able to see where your screws went. And again, you know, if in doubt, you just, at the ends, start there and then just try to follow where they line up. And I don't really think they'll even go because there's not like a receiving thread for the incorrect holes. Another thing, it seemed like it was kind of tricky to get this to set just right, but you can always verify that it's in there right if you put this piece on and if it lines right up, you know, height wise. Like if this thing was going to be kind of like this, like it was going to be high, then you know that this thing might not be seated in properly. But since this looks like it's going to fit, you know, this little hold down bracket looks like it's going to fit just right, and it's seated down there in the bottom, we should be good to go. So there we have it. A seemingly scary adventure. Wasn't really that bad after all. Hopefully you guys got some good information from this video. Maybe it helped you figure out what you needed to know to get your P-115 repaired and back in order. If you guys got something good from this video, all I ask is that you hit that subscribe button. It's one of the main things that helps support a channel, and it allows us to keep doing the things that we're doing to bring you good content and continuously grow. So thanks again. I hope to see you guys on the next video. Be good out there.